What is something you do differently, Stacey, that you have learned because of this experience?
I am slower. I mean, you know
Mm,
me, I had my own company. I also work as an agency producer for an ad agency. I do a lot of things, but
hmm
I used to pack in like 8 to 10 things a day. Now, like today, for instance, I had this podcast. I did 3 things. So I feel like I'm really kind of pacing myself. I was scared when I was in the hospital, so much so that I at one point like told my husband, I'm like, let's stop everything. Let's sell the house. Let's just be together because this is so silly. Like when you're facing a huge health scare, nothing else matters. I mean, I say that, but it's really the truth. Like not one other thing matters in life but your loved ones. And
So true.
it does go away. When I first came out of it, I was much more like protective of my time and my self-care. And it starts to fade after a while when you start to feel better. But I definitely don't have the stamina I did before I got the MRSA. There's a few things that are a lot different. Um, so I kind of have to pace myself.
So self-care is important. I'll agree with you on that. And bringing down the stress levels, very important because that's
Mm-hmm.
really stress levels and high stress and cortisol, that can be a killer as well. So you don't
Mm-hmm.
want like this double dose, right? What are you doing are there changes you've made in your life, in your lifestyle as well? You know, how you protect yourself, like the food you eat or the kind of movement that you do. How are you supporting yourself in that area?
Well, I just am thankful that I was very healthy going into it. I
Mm-hmm.
think that's one of the reasons why I survived the MRSA because a lot of people don't survive that. When
Mm,
I came home, I had to have antibiotics in my arm for 6 weeks afterwards, and I had a home health nurse, and it
mm.
was just crazy. And she walked in the first day, and she was taking my statistics, and she said, "Well, isn't that great that you're alive?" And I was like, "Really? Like it was that close?" She's like, "Yeah." She said, "You really dodged a bullet." Um, so I feel like I'm thankful that I've always been healthy. I do a ton of yoga. We talked about that. I
Mhm,
do the hot yoga. I
mhm.
walk in the mornings. I eat fairly healthy. I don't drink that much anymore. I can't take
Yeah.
it actually. I can't take the alcohol. Um, this is too much of a hangover. But I mean, just stuff like that. But you know what? It's crazy. Like we really get old. Like we really do.
Mhm.
Like I keep looking at Eric. Like we're actually my husband. I'm like we're actually getting older. Like this is nuts. Like, you know what I mean?
The
I just
things we
feel like
want,
I just feel like
right?
we shouldn't, get
Right.
older, but it's actually happening. So
Yeah, like is it the point like I have these conversations a lot with Chris too and you know Chris who's my
yeah,
partner and I'm like I just want to like have a house with a dock and sitting on some old Adirondack chairs and like late for me might be 9:30 and I don't even know if I want to go out to dinner if it's past 7. Like we get to that point where it's like what I want to live, I want to travel, I want to do
yeah,
great things. But I am at a point where I'm just like, I don't have time for that anymore. You
I
know,
know.
we went out a couple nights ago to see a friend who was performing at a comedy club who had come in from the West Coast. And I think we got home around 1:30. I'm like, who
Ooh,
are we? What? And it
you're
was so much
crazy.
fun. I wouldn't trade it for the world. But we were at
Right.
this comedy club bar until after 12:30 at night. And I'm like, oh my God, I'd be in bed by now, at least on the couch watching a Ken Burns documentary or something, right? Don't go out that much anymore to where it's late because it's, your body pretty much is telling you what it needs and what to do. And do you feel like that's happened more for you as you've gotten older?
Sleep is like
Oh, yeah.
so necessary. When I first was recuperating from the whole thing, my eyes used to just tell me like I had to take a nap. I don't nap. I mean, I barely
Mhm.
sleep. Like my whole life, I had like 4 hours of sleep every night and I was fine with it. But I would have to take a nap and then I would go to sleep at like 9, and so really sleep is so important. It's hard to sleep when you get older though. I definitely struggle with getting my full 8 hours where I'm not getting up every every
Oh,
2 or 3 hours.
yeah. I feel
Yeah.
like I want to sleep more, but sometimes it's hard. And you sit up and you're just in your chatter or you're in your head. I also have sleep apnea, so like I struggle with
Mhm.
that anyway. But having tools, obviously, to help me with that helps. But still, I sit up and I'm like, what's going on? Like you start going through that laundry list of things, and you really got to bring yourself down because it's so important. And also, the connection between sleep and our heart health,
Mm.
right? You
Hmm.
know, um, what are some things that you wish you had done differently? Obviously, MRSA was something that it wasn't like you were acting uh, carelessly and it came about, but what would be something that the older and wiser and more in tune Stacey would tell her younger self?
I think one of the things I don't do anymore, which I'm not sure if it was a factor in the MRSA or
Mm,
not, was get nails. And I love having my little acrylic nails, but something about the nails, like I felt like maybe they introduced it into my face because I was scratching my
mm,
face. So I don't do that particular thing. Um, but otherwise, besides working less,
yeah.
which is hard for me, I got to be honest, I actually went to a therapist because
Hmm.
basically because I'm like, am I a workaholic? Yeah. I
Yeah.
don't know because I love working so much. Of course, my son laughs his ass off. He's like, Mom, you don't work enough to be a workaholic. Like, you definitely are not one.
Like,
But but I get it. He's 25. But
right.
I get that. And so I don't know. Like, I think I'm really trying to work in here most,
Mhm.
and because I felt like I was doing a lot physically, it's really in here, how to calm down, how to console myself, how to breathe more, how to slow down, how to
Mhm.
not be stressed. And I feel like hopefully, and also that helps with eating, right? So
Mhm.
I recently lost a lot of weight. I try to eat a lot of protein. I just,
Yeah.
and if you slow down, you're not, you know, eating
Yeah,
as
you're
much
not
as
nibbling and
you.
so much of food can really be boredom or just
Yeah.
that quick fix of dopamine and then you come down,
Mm.
right?